I have 3 children.
Today I actually wanted to talk about bottle feeding
breastfed
versus
exclusively.
So
For a year,
I have 3 children.
about 4
With
months.
my first 2 boys, I breastfed
and,
exclusively,
but
for a
they
year.
never had
They started
a drop of
solids about
formula
4 months.
ever. They gained weight
And
quickly.
they never had
a drop
an
of
incredible
formula,
supply. Like it was
They
nuts.
gained weight
They'd
quickly. I
pull
had
off my breast and they would get
an
soaked
incredible
with
supply.
milk
Like
because
it was
I just
nuts.
had
They'd
that much. I mean,
pull
it would
off
just
my breast
pour
and they
out.
would get
It's crazy.
soaked
with milk
with my
because
third,
I
had every
that much. I
intentions
mean, it
of
would just
exclusively
pour
breastfeeding
out.
just
It's
like I
crazy.
did my boys.
With my third,
But
I had every
she
intentions
had other
of
plans,
exclusively
and so did my
breastfeeding,
boobs.
just like I did
So,
my boys. With
but
her,
she had
my
other plans, and so did my boobs.
nipples got,
So,
and this might be too much information,
with
but
her,
I decided, with the boys, I used the
nipples
Lancino, the purple
got, and this might
cream
be too much
for your boobs
information,
when they get
but
really sore.
I decided,
And that worked.
with the boys,
and I
I
never really
used
had
the
the Lancino,
Lancino,
the
the
purple,
purple
nothing crazy.
cream
But
boobs
in the
when they get really
hospital, they
sore.
give you the Medela
And that
cream,
worked.
and I never really had issues.
At
They were
least here
sore,
they do.
but nothing crazy.
And
but in the
it didn't
hospital,
work.
they give you the Medela
And
cream.
within a couple days,
At least here they do.
my
nipples were
it didn't
bleeding
work.
and scabbing,
And
they hurt
within
so
a
bad
couple
that when she
days,
would latch
my
on,
my
nipples were bleeding,
get nauseous,
and scabbing.
my knees
and they
would
hurt
feel like they
so
were gonna
bad
buckle
that
from
when she
under
would
me.
latch on,
That's how
I'd,
bad
like,
it hurt.
and
nauseous.
not to
Like,
mention,
my knees would feel like they were gonna buckle
my
from under me.
supply was great.
That's
but
how
I
bad
guess
it
the
hurt.
fat content in my
And
milk was
not
very
to
high.
mention,
So
my
she
supply was great,
lost
but I
a
guess
good
the
bit of weight.
fat content in my
So
milk
they
wasn't
wanted me
very
to start
high.
putting formula in her
So
bottle at about 4 weeks when she was still like
lost
I think
a
at
good
4
bit
weeks
of
she was
weight.
only 7 pounds 2
So they
ounces.
wanted me to start
and
putting
she was
formula
7 pounds
in her
7
bottle at about
ounces
4 weeks
when she was still
born.
like
So she was
I
still
think at 4 weeks she
at
was
a
only
month,
7 pounds 2 ounces.
not even
and
back
she
at
was
birth
7
weight.
pounds
So
7 ounces when
she
she
was
was born. So
very
she was
small, and they
still
were pretty
at a
concerned.
month.
So we went
not
in
even
every
back
single
at
week
birth
for a
weight.
weight
So
check.
for the first 4 weeks,
She
we
was
had to go to the doctor.
very small, and they were
So
pretty concerned.
They were
So
very concerned.
we went
and
in
so they
every
wanted us
single
to
week
start
for a
mixing in
weight
some
check
formula
for the first 4 weeks.
So we had to go to the
with
doctor.
her breast milk in
So
a bottle.
they were very concerned, and so they wanted us
before
to start
that,
mixing
before I
in
did
some
that,
formula
they wanted to know how much she was getting
with her
So I
breast
started
milk in a
pumping.
bottle.
So I was pumping,
So
and then feeding her.
before that,
before I did
to 4
that,
ounces.
they wanted to know
Pumping
how
and
much she
feeding
was
her
getting.
bottle.
So I started
Pumping and
pumping
feeding her
so
bottle.
I was
So I wasn't
pumping
getting
and
a
then
chance
feeding
to
her
nurse
bottle.
her.
3 to
I wasn't
4
getting a
ounces.
chance to
Pumping
bond with
and
her.
feeding
That
her
nurse,
bottle.
nursing is a
Pumping and feeding her
huge
bottle.
bonding
So I wasn't
experience.
getting a chance
But I was
to nurse
losing all
her.
that.
So I wasn't getting a chance
double
to bond with
It
her.
was
That nursing
exhausting.
is. I was
huge
having to
bonding
wake up in the middle of the
experience.
night twice
But I
a
was
night
losing
to
all
pump.
that.
So I was
that
doing double
my
work. It was
breast wouldn't get
exhausting.
engorged and swollen.
I mean, I was
and
having to
even
wake
more
up in the middle of the
painful.
night twice a night to
So,
pump, so that
um,
my breast wouldn't
I
get
ended
engorged
up
and
buying
swollen and
a
even
nipple
more
shield,
painful. Which
So,
I highly recommend.
I
About week
ended up
2 because I
buying
just couldn't
a
take the
nipple
pain anymore,
shield,
and it wasn't getting any better.
which I highly recommend.
So I did that
about
and
week 2 because
and
I
it was
just couldn't
you
take
know
the pain
it
anymore, and it
worked
wasn't getting any better.
quite well. However,
So,
she was still
I did
small, so I
that,
had to
and
start doing the pumping
it was,
and
you
feeding
know,
her a bottle.
it worked
So I wasn't getting
quite
nurse her
well.
anymore. However,
It was exhausting.
she was still small, so I had to start doing the
was
pumping and feeding her
double
a bottle.
work.
So
It
I wasn't
was-
getting to nurse her anymore.
It was
I
exhausting.
was emotional because I wasn't
it
getting
was
that experience.
double work.
And yet it was like pump,
I was
feed her,
I was
change
emotional
her,
because
pump again,
I wasn't getting
feed
that
her,
experience.
change her, pump
and yet
again, feed
it was
her,
like
change her, and
pump,
that's all I was doing.
feed her,
I mean,
change
for
her,
days,
pump
and then I
again,
had to wash
feed
bottles
her,
on top
change
of it.
her, pump again,
So,
feed her, change her, and
it was
that's all I was
awful.
doing.
Worst experience
I mean,
ever.
for days, and then I had
And
to
so
wash
finally,
bottles on top of it.
So
she actually
it was
ended up
awful.
developing
Worst
an
experience
allergy
ever.
to milk.
And so
At
finally,
about 5.5 weeks.
she actually ended
So
up
she broke out
developing
in
an
this terrible
allergy
rash
to milk.
She cried for
at about
days.
5.5 weeks.
And so we finally switched to
So
a soy
she broke out
formula.
in this terrible rash.
At this time, I'm still
She
pumping
cried
and
for
just adding
days.
a scoop of
And
formula
so we
to
finally switched
her
to
breast
a
milk.
soy formula.
So at this time, I'm
Then
still pumping
she
and just
couldn't
adding
milk
a scoop of formula
she was
to
very constipated.
her breast milk.
So we
So
went back to the doctor, and at this
then
point, I
she
hadn't
couldn't go
slept.
poop.
She was very
couldn't even
constipated.
hear myself think anymore.
So we
because
went back
all I
to the
could hear
doctor,
was
and at this
crying.
point, I
Whether she
hadn't
was
slept.
crying or not is like it was stuck in my head.
Couldn't even hear myself think anymore
And
because all I could hear
I
was
was
crying.
exhausted, and I had
Whether
two
she
other
was
children
crying or
to
not,
attend
it's like
to.
it was
So
stuck in my head.
It was crazy.
And
So I was
the doctor
exhausted,
told me
and I had
to
two
start
other
her on
children to
Nutramigen,
attend to, so
which
it was-
is like
it
a
was
super
crazy.
sensitive,
super
and
expensive
so
formula.
The doctor
And
told
we don't
me
qualify
to start
for
her
WIC,
on Nutramigen,
so it's not like
which
it's
is like a super
covered.
sensitive. It's not
Super
free for us.
expensive
So
formula.
It's about $40
$40 per can. It's pretty expensive. Thank God they sent out coupons. But yeah, so it was pretty crazy. And she started drinking that. So I started giving her bottles of just that without breast milk, because my breast milk, whenever I would eat anything with dairy in it, she would break out in a rash. So I finally got all the dairy out of my system, and I had one chocolate covered strawberry one day. I wasn't even thinking about it. I grabbed one, and she immediately broke out in a rash the first time I nursed her, because I was starting to nurse her a little bit again and give her bottles. So she started nursing, and then she got to where she didn't like to nurse anymore. Like, she would squirm the whole time, like not enough's coming out or something, and my supply still seemed to be the same. So it was very, very, very stressful. So I have decided that I would go majority to the bottle. She has since grown. She is a happy baby. I do believe that she's outgrown her dairy allergy to a certain extent, because I have introduced it back to my diet a little bit, and she still nurses. Like, I nurse her in the morning. If she wakes up throughout the middle of the night, I will nurse her, but she is sleeping pretty good at night. So and she's just, I can go 3 to 4 hours, and I don't have to worry about somebody saying something slick to me about nursing my baby in public, which I still do occasionally, but I don't know what I would do if somebody did that to me. I would lose my mind. The pros of bottle feeding for me is she sleeps longer. She goes longer spans without having to eat, and she's happier. Now, my boys, you couldn't get them to take a bottle. At 6 months, I broke down and tried to get my second one, to my middle child, to take a bottle, because he was wanting to eat every 30 minutes. And I know he's going through a growth spurt or something, but I couldn't fill him up. Food couldn't fill him up, because he was eating some solids at that time. He wanted to be constantly latched on. So I tried really hard to give him a bottle, and he would not take it. He wouldn't take it at all. So, and he was still, both of my boys woke up every 2 to 3 hours every single night until they were over a year, and I finally started letting them cry it out just a little bit, going in there, laying them back down, telling them they're okay, and tuck them back in, because I couldn't do it anymore. But I had emotional breakdowns with both of them at about 6 months because they wouldn't sleep. So that's that's kind of like the downfall of breastfeeding for me, but I still was determined to do it. But with this third one, I just had to kind of let her decide. She decided that the bottle was better for her. I still nurse her several times a day, and I enjoy that time that we do get, but also having the bottle is just, for me, it works better, and for her it works better, and she kind of chose that on her own. I had huge guilt about it, because the boys were both breastfed for a year, so, and they never had a drop of formula, so I had a huge, felt so much guilt. But I'm finally over it, and I hope that any other mom out there who's decided to go to the bottle doesn't feel guilty, because sometimes that's just right. And even if you are making that decision and your baby doesn't make that decision, even if it's something that you have to go to, or you need to go to, or you want to go to, your sanity and your emotions are just as important as the baby's, because I don't care what anybody says, if mom's happy, the rest of the world's happy. If mom's sad, so is the rest of them. And the babies feel our pain. So we have to be happy as much as possible, so that they understand, or so that they can be happy, because we can't be crying of exhaustion every day and expect to take care of a newborn. And if you have any other children, they don't want to see mommy cry every day. So just know that you're making the right decision, whether it's breastfeeding or bottle feeding, and don't beat yourself up about it, because there's really no point. Your baby's healthy, your baby's loved, and that's all that really matters.